Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Amplify with Adam. Today I have Jason Davis here from Pioneer Cuts. Jason, man, really excited to speak with you today. Thanks for coming on the show.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, so I gave a little introduction, but tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about Pioneer Cuts.
And so Pioneer Cuts is a quick turn prototype machine shop. Um, we most of our quantities are between 1 and 5 pieces, and we kind of started in the garage, in a 1.5 car garage in a residential neighborhood. We've kind of expanded to our 8,500 square foot facility. So it's kind of it's kind of a fun ride, and we enjoy it. We got a lot of plans for you at the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about like you didn't go from one night in a 1 car garage or 1.5 car garage to an 8,500 square foot facility. So, what was that journey like? How long ago were you operating out of a garage, and what's the journey been like getting to where you are now?
Yeah, so I quit my job in 2016 when we started doing this. I was working in a machine shop doing programming, doing similar things, and all the guys stand around and they talk about putting a machine in their garage. It's pretty common talk for a machine shop, and they talk about how much money could be made. We could do this job. There's of course, there's a lot of costs we don't talk about standing around the shop floor. We're just, but I decided to give it a go. I didn't really ask, I guess, permission from my employer. But once it was done, I kind of told them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a mixed reception. So it was actually worse of reception than I expected. Yeah. So that kind of spurred me to make it happen quicker, because my future was kind of, shot in the hind end there, I felt. So they worked with I'm not a very good salesman. That's been my downfall. I can program, I can find where to buy tools and get material and work the long hours, work all night long. I can do all that, but convincing somebody that's what I'm going to do for them and I'm the best fit wasn't my strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my company worked with a company called Xometry, and they're just kind of like a board-based system. A bunch of jobs come on the board. You want them, you click yes. You don't want them, you click no. And I also worked with the Department of Defense with a similar system. It got a lot more complex than the Xometry system. So I started working for the Department of Defense. I started working for Xometry. Once they kind of found out where I worked, they didn't want any bad blood with my previous employer. So they wanted me to kind of ask permission to work with Xometry.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't really, I was kind of hard-headed, and I was like, I'm not going to. We just forget about it. So I worked with the DOD mostly, doing small contract jobs. And somebody from Xometry called me about a year later and asked if I would mind if they asked if I could do work with them. And I thought, yeah, go ahead. They're actually very good about it. They're happy to have me do the work alongside. And since then, I've actually had a guy leave here and do the same thing. And since I was treated that way, I treated him the same way. And he's not working for Xometry. So once that happened, they liked our work. This Xometry company kind of dropped everything with the DOD for the most part, because it's very competitive, and the inspectors come to my house in this case and inspect the shipments prior to leaving, and just all kinds of paperwork and government technical stuff. That's when it really took off. We had a couple private customers, and then the Xometry, we kind of took more and more work with them, and we bought this 4,500 square foot facility and just kept working with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we still do. I mean, they're a big, they're a big part of our business. I tell everyone they're a big part of business, especially for someone like we do good work. We're reliable. We can be counted on. You know, bad things happen to everyone here or there, but you know, and they realize that, and I don't have to convince them of that because they can just, you know, I don't have to go out and sell, which I can't do, and it's just working out. We've had now we have started some marketing. We have a lot of, all of a sudden, out of the blue, customers coming from everywhere. We've got some quotes and, you know, simple SEO stuff. I actually have a video series about, if you've seen it, about how to start a machine shop. I've got part 1 done. Yeah. Part 2 was supposed to release today, but I've been so busy that
we took up some of your time in releasing that. But yeah, I was gonna ask. You know, I've seen. And first of all, thank you for that intro. There's a lot there that I'd like to get into.
Yeah.
And I've heard of the Xometry company before, obviously. Yeah, no. So it seems like, you know, obviously that journey was really interesting. And where you're at now, where you're starting to get into, I looked at the YouTube series, and we'll link to that in the comments because I think it's great content. But you know, as you start to do some of that marketing, is that just like self-taught stuff? Because the YouTube series is fantastic, and you know, you're starting to talk about SEO and things. Is that some of the stuff that you're focusing on now as you've grown your team internally?
Yes, yeah, we are. There's 16 of us here now, and we're the marketing. This side of the business, I come from manufacturing, so there's a whole other side of the business that's been a lot to learn. And we put in a lot of hard work, and we've learned about marketing and SEO, and some of it's, you know, anybody familiar with SEO knows that search engine optimization, that it doesn't pay off for a long time. It's hard to know if you're going anywhere.
Yeah.
But we can see the results, we can feel the results. Paid advertising, we've canceled all of that, you know, because people want to see organic results. They don't want to see the ad. You're like me, you search who's first, they're probably the best in Google without paying for it. And,
right.
Yeah.
So where have you gone to like learn some of those skills? I mean, is that just self-taught, or are you going to YouTube and just kind of looking things up, or
yeah, well, a lot of it was trial and error. It's been self-taught. The SEO, we dealt with a couple different companies. And the world of SEO is so vast, and everybody has all these promises. It's really hard to find someone that you can trust. And we're working with a guy out of India. You know, a lot of tech work is done in India, and he's doing a really good job for us. I've hired other people to look at his work, you know, because I don't have time to be a professional SEO person and a so a lot of self-taught. We have a good team. We have some office staff, quality manager, shipping, receiving manager. All these people are willing to take on some of these types of tasks, learn about them, and, you know, apply their knowledge.
Everybody's willing to wear a couple different hats, basically.
They sure are.
Yeah. Now I saw, so there was something on your website where you said you can upload CAD to your website and get a turnaround on quotes in 6 hours, and that's a fantastic turnaround time. What are some of your strategies around how to be so quick in response to customers?
Well, 6 hours is super fast. And honestly, you know, we can't always do that. But when we can, the goal is to reach out and explain, hey, this is why your quote's taking longer than 6 hours. You know, just the customer knows that they're expecting a quote for us. We're not just going to ignore them. A lot of times we'll send quotes out and we don't know if they're going to respond or not, right? It's a pretty common thing. Yeah. So we do that. Everybody teams up. I price the machine time, the setup time, the program time. I send that information into the office. Somebody else prices the material. Somebody else prices the outside processing, the lead time. We kind of put it all together in 6 hours. And if we're waiting on any information, that's when we, you know, reach out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fantastic because a lot of times you see 24 hours, right? Or 48 hours as a response time. And so to be 6 hours, that's got to be a huge competitive advantage when you're responding back to customers.
Yeah, it is. It's proven fact from our experience that quicker quotes get more work.
Mhm.
You got somebody on their desk, they got a pile of work so high, and somebody shoots back an answer. They don't have to wait for all the quotes to come in. They may say, this looks reasonable. Let's get it off my desk and place an order. We purchase like that ourselves sometimes. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on some of the YouTube content that you're doing, you said that you've got how to start a machine shop. You've also got some like tips and tricks stuff. What's kind of the plan there? I mean, are you guys looking to be, maybe not influencers in the space, so that's kind of a loaded term, but to give back to the industry for people willing to learn?
Yeah, we do. We do want to. Our goal is to share our information. Like I say in my channel, we're real open with our trade secrets, if you want to call them that, and we're real open with our financials, with our employees. We want to encourage other people to give it a go. I mean, I don't want to say that it's easy and that it's stress-free or anything like that, but some people, I always wanted to try it, so we're going to try it. And worst case scenario, I told my wife, we go bad credit and I go back to work. But so far, so good in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So in the series on how to start a machine shop, can you give us a few of the major tips that you are talking about? Can you give us a little sneak preview of what that content looks like?
Yeah. So some of the tips in the part one of the video real quick are you register with, in my case, state of Michigan for an EIN number and an LLC. And that's a very simple process. It's only $25. Maybe it's $50 for the initial. But anyway, there's legal Zooms, there's lawyers. They'll charge about $350 for this. And it's not needed at all. Anybody can do that. Just get online, Michigan State, register that. That's about, you can get a website. There's all kinds of drag and drop websites out there. I kind of talk about that. We went through a learning process, had several websites. I would say if the money's there, just go right out with a WordPress website. It's more SEO friendly. Once you want to start doing that, you won't have to redesign your whole website. Website's not even mandatory if you have customers. You don't need a website right away. You just need work, a license. And most of our customers didn't even ask us for a lot of insurance requirements right in the beginning. If you're the only member of your LLC, you don't have to have workers' comp. I mean, it's your choice. It's not a requirement in the state of Michigan. Department of Defense, if you want to work with them, they don't require any type of insurance. From my experience, I don't think Xometry asks us. They may have for any type of insurance. But
I will say we have changed that on our partner network. We do need proof of insurance.
okay.
Way back in the day, maybe not, but
Right.
now we do.
Back in the Old West.
Yeah.
So that's the basics, and just I spent a lot of time trying to find, if you worked in a shop, you see all the salesmen come in and everybody's got, but when you're a small guy, nobody really cares about that. To an extent, because if you go away, they don't feel it. So I was looking for like an Amazon style tool ordering. Xometry has this, but in my opinion, it's not developed enough to rely on and use as a single point of purchase for tooling, but I think it probably will be. We started with Suncoast Precision out of Florida. I've never ran into anybody that's ever heard of them, but
I actually have, because I did marketing, right? The marketing for Xometry supplies, so I know a lot of the competitors. But yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I mean they have very competitive pricing. Salesmen come in all the time, tool salesmen from different places, and they're just not very rarely willing to beat those prices. And I'm not really looking for your technical advice. I'm not really looking for you to come in and spend a day with me, because we're not doing production work. We're doing one or two pieces. So I don't need to see, how, if we can save 3 minutes off a part or something like that. So I just like that Amazon style tool purchasing, as well as the material. Material is it's hard to get. We need to get it real quick. Everything has to happen real quick around here. So Alro is our most, reliable source for material. If they have it, they're definitely the most reliable. They're not the cheapest by any means. Online Metals, Xometry was partnered with them, so we got, they're not anymore, I don't believe, but we started using them. They're just not that reliable. They just drop the ball over and over. Then, our customers are mad. It's not worth it. We'd rather pay more. So.
Now, do you ever have any sort of thing? Because I know that speed on the material pricing or the material acquisition is really important. Are you stocking things that are standard sizes as part of that, or is it typically like you're buying the material for the part you're about to make?
We just started stocking some material. We just actually, somebody from Xometry Supplies, they sell material too. Mm-hmm. They're changing the way they sell material, so they're not gonna, from my understanding, not gonna have a bunch of inventory. So they're liquidating, and we decided to pick up, a couple thousand pounds of aluminum, I think. And yeah, we're gonna start stocking aluminum. We want to start stocking more. We have all bars right now. We want to start stocking some plate and some actually some 70-50, some of these, and some 15-5 stainless, some of this stuff that's hard to get and has long lead times, because that really helps us get orders if we can have those things on stock and turn it around.
Absolutely. Now, so to bring it back to some of the starting the machine shops and the tips and tricks, if you were to package up that advice into, one or two pieces of advice that you'd give someone that was looking to start their own shop or looking to get in the space, what's kind of the main thing you'd have them focus on, or the main piece of advice you'd give them?
Well, the main thing is, so you're gonna have to have a machine. So, buy a decent machine, buy a Haas. Haas is not the best machine in the world, but I started with a Tormont. Mm-hmm. Don't recommend it. It didn't work out. Buy a Haas. They have a couple machines that don't require 3-phase power. So decide whether or not you need 3-phase power. You maybe will put it in the garage for very limited modifications in price. And if you're going to do that, the other thing is make sure that you do whatever you can, stay up all night to make sure the parts go on time, especially in the beginning, and that they're right, because your reputation is just going to go through the roof when you can do that. Lastly, if you have a family and kids, that step of staying up all night is going to happen more than you want. And they're going to, suffer a little bit depending on how hard you want to go at it and whether you have another job. And I would try to keep my job as long as possible. I quit my job once my customers' parts were going to be late if I didn't. That was my deciding factor.
I like that decision point, right? Like it's like, hey, I gotta commit to this because I've committed to the customer. So it's keeping your word to them.
Right.
That's awesome. Well, Jason, man, I really enjoyed this conversation. I'm excited to stay up with the YouTube content that you're putting out, especially the shop advice, because I think that's fantastic to include in the industry and much needed content. So thank you for working on that, and thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good to be here.
All right, well, guys, tune in next week for another episode of Amplify with Adam.